even though Smoky Banks has been transferred to a new, weird, planty dimension, seasons still change, and you've still found yourselves in a deep winter. This is the first time that all of you will be celebrating Smoky Banks' traditional winter festival, which is a celebration of the lunar goddess that shines brightest at, like, the winter. Is it equinox? Is that, like, the longest...
Solstice.
Solstice. It's a oddly green, sort of spectral-looking moon. Like, all the other moons that you see are usually, like, white, maybe a reddish hue to some of them, but this one is, like, a vibrant green that gives it this kind of ghostly, ethereal look, and through most of winter, it hangs very high and bright in the sky. This festival's a little odd because that moon is absent, but it's still cold, and it's still a time for all of you to gather together with friends and loved ones and celebrate, together to try to ward off a little bit of the misery that comes with winter. Yes, Zach?
We don't have seasons on Nova Thea. We decided that, remember?
No, we still do have seasons. They're just milder.
Do we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a non-canonical festival. I don't know how none of you can seem to get your heads around this. It's We're doing Christmas, guys. Come on. Work with me here. Anyways, this is kind of where we get to do a little bit of group stuff. So, what is... all of you just get to kind of pick one thing to say about this festival, right? So I'll go first. I kind of already alluded to it, but it happens in the middle of the night, like at midnight, basically, is like the high point of this festival. It's when everyone's out celebrating. And I think, to me, it is like you're going in and out of your house a lot. So, you'll have people over and then you go back out and, like, dance and sing and, like, hang around fires. But it is like a food stalls at night, little market, dancing, that kind of thing. So everyone else can go around and say a tradition. This could be a family tradition for your character specifically at this particular lunar festival, or one that's, like, more widely adopted.
I'll go with what I think like Smoky Banks's version is, which is I think that they have I think most places probably end up doing, like, a big feast thing, headed by the town. And I think Smoky Banks's version, they usually end up culling one of the manatees, and that's the turkey of this world. And I think at least prior, there was probably, like, some stuff down on the beach, like part of the event was down by the water under the moonlight.
I was gonna say there's a lot more star related stuff than perhaps other times of the year, because usually there's, like, quite a lot of moons and the ring and stuff, and but, like, during this time there's just the one bright moon.
Oh.
So, like, kids will cut out stars, and there's just a lot of star decorations around. And I think particularly now that there's no moons, there's...
Well, and different stars, which is kind of fun.
Right, yeah, but you still have the stars, at least, so that's what we got.
Even if they're not in the right spots.
Yes.
I was gonna say, I think, going back to when they were on the normal planet, it's also been, like, tied into, like, a celebration of, like, the eco-herbs to an extent. And by that, like, going back to nature. So I think, like, after the feasting, after the food stalls, like, I feel like there's a moment where they do, like, the equivalent of, like, a candlelight vigil that we do at Christmas a lot. But it's like, we turn off all the lights, we make it dark, like, in a way that even the little light that we usually have going on all the time is, like, off, so that you can really see the night sky.
So this is a tradition that Fred has tried to start since he's been in Smoky Banks, with the festival being, like, very trying to think how I want to say this, because you said that there's a lot of fires and it's all centered around, like, being around campfires and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, because you're keeping warm and stuff. Yeah. You're outside with everybody and, like, munching on food.
So to Fred, fire is, like, it's what he uses to do his forge. And so he's kind of also tried to add a, like, maker fair on top of this as well. So he's kind of like rallied a lot of the artisans in town to also set up booths for their crafts.
Nice.
That's fun. Yeah, I like that. All right, so in this case, all of you are gathered in. I think I'm going to go with what, Estelle, you have like a little cottage right now.
No, we Mitchell and Estelle are living in the solarium.
Oh, you know what? That's fun. Okay, yeah, I'll say that you're all, so like the solarium has like the like globe, like glass topped area that's like outdoor but under glass, you know? So I think that area in particular has been, is very popular right now because it's a little bit warmer. It's like still chilly, but it's much warmer and nicer. So you're all outside in like this little solarium. You can see snow kind of like falling and accumulating a little bit above you, but you can still see the moon and the stars above you as you've gathered around with all of your friends and loved ones to exchange gifts. So who would like to go first? Wow, all of you are so excited. I'm giving gifts back, so one of you actually has to go first. And if someone doesn't volunteer, I'm going in chat order, which means Caitlin always goes first.
Okay, I'll go first. Because so I think two of the people on my list I don't think are actually here necessarily. So for my parents, because I feel like I should have something for them. It feels appropriate.
No, go ahead. This is going to be funny, actually.
No, so Estelle stopped by, like, earlier, because I would say, like, it's, like, night now.
Yeah,
but like
it's middle of the night. Yeah, it's, like, midnight.
So earlier in the night, because they're off doing their own thing.
Oh, no. They would be here now. You can do it now.
Okay.
Trust me.
Okay. Well, she just, I figured she would have made them some, like, baked goods.
So, you bring out these baked goods and give them to your mom, and she's like, oh, wow, thanks, I really appreciate it. And then Matthew goes, now, Grandma, once you're done getting those baked goods, you gotta go right back in the slammer, alright? You were on the old council, alright? Now, I made an exception, and you're allowed out of jail just for this one day.
Estelle punches
gifts.
him in the shoulder.
What? They're not supposed to leave their house, alright? Except on the special occasion of whenever they feel like it, apparently, because I can't keep them where they're supposed to be.
I feel like at this point, you putting Grandma on house arrest for this long is a problem.
He leans over to you and goes, look, it's the only way that I can keep her under guard all the time, and I'm worried they're going to get killed otherwise. So I've called it house arrest and assigned someone to watch her all the time.
I think we'll talk after this. I think we can come up with a better way to handle this.
Maybe I just like calling it house arrest, alright? They think it's funny. I come and visit her all the time. She loves it.
Well, since Matthew is here, I'm also going to give him his gift, which I think Estelle worked with Fred on, like...
Oh, no, Mandy, no!
I figured it would be, like, a sword that's, this sounds so stupid, but, like, similar to, like, a kitchen knife type situation. Like, it's something that's very easy to, like... Something that would feel correct, you know? Something that he's used to.
Oh, yeah. I like that.
So yeah. I made that for him. For Lance, I don't know if he is here with us.
Oh, yeah, Lance is there. Yeah.
Okay.
He's, like, drinking a cup of something, like, warm and steaming, you know, and over in the corner, he's just contentedly watching your dad strum on a guitar, like, playing traditional lunar festival songs.
So I would say this year we probably, even though by this point I think we're down to like maybe the last 5, I think we still killed a manatee for like the town. And like we've had to get rid of a lot of them, unfortunately. So Estelle brings Lance. She has some of the like jerky that we've made from them, and then she also has a packet of seeds. So I don't know if these have been passed on to you to try back in your town, but I thought this might be a good way for your group to start, growing things that we've found that we can do.
Oh,
here.
when you hand him these, he goes, "That's actually really nice, and this jerky is delicious." And then he goes, "No, Matthew, no!" and starts swatting at Matthew's hand, who's just like creeping over, like, "No, it's mine. You don't get any.
Matthew, you had some.
You got a big knife thing. I get the jerky. Get out of here. You gave him some of my jerky?"
It's not yours. It was the town's. I just happened to have a little bit extra in the back.
Do you have any more?
Come back to the vet office later. Okay. So that. Oh, and then for Mitchell, Estelle made him some extra arrows.
Oh. He's like, he starts looking at him, and then just kind of like goes over and like gets out his bow and is like,
You're not allowed to play with your Christmas presents until everybody's done.
Later.
"Well, I mean, you have to make sure they're good, though."
I made sure that they're good. Don't worry about that. Fred has taught me a thing or two about actually putting these together. I will say he probably ended up doing about 70% of the work on these, but I tried. And now, Estelle is going to go up to Juliet, and she is going to hand her. So it's like this is just funny because of what what a lot of us are doing now. But she's going to hand her like a cross stitch piece, and it has like 5 of the new plants that we've discovered while here. And she's like, "It's been a long time since I've done any kind of this like stitching. I tried to do the words, but honestly, you might just want to like write them out underneath. But this is like, I thought it might be nice to have more than just a written version of everything that we've discovered out here. So I hope you like it."
Estelle, this is lovely. I was just telling Maul, the back room doesn't have a lot of decoration. This will be perfect.
Well, good. I'm
the decoration. What are you talking about? There's a whole tree in it. It's me. I'm the beautiful decoration.
Are we going to put it on the tree?
No.
There's plenty. There's a lot of walls.
Obscure my beauty. You're lucky I'm wearing clothes anymore. I'm tree now.
Some would say unlucky.
Look, while you're in public, please continue to wear clothes.
Just saying, I've been a lot of places. Not everyone wears clothes.
Okay, well, we do.
I really meant to give Teddy something, and I completely forgot.
Teddy's over there, and he just goes, "What is clothes?"
Oh, boy.
It's inappropriate for a manager to give his employees presents.
You can see one bug tear forming, and he just goes, "What is Christmas love and presents?"
I'll leave explaining what that is to Autumn. I'm not gonna touch that right now. Okay, and then Estelle will go up to Autumn, and Autumn is gonna get it looks like a pretty thick braided tassel. One of the great things about Spirelix is that we're actually able to do a lot of the stuff with the hair. And so I made this for your spear. It's kind of like pot decoration, but I was talking with Matthew, and apparently having these things pretty close to the spearhead actually helps like soak up anything that you might stab and keep the handle from getting slippery. So
I love it.
Hopefully you like how it looks, but it's useful.
I mean, it looks badass, so obviously.
And then Mr. Fred, Estelle comes over and hands you a tool belt. I was telling Juliet, it's been a long time since I've done this kind of stitching, but I managed to get your name on it. So, and if you want, I can kind of adjust I'm not as, like, I've watched what you use, but if there's anything I missed, I can kind of, like, add on an extra patch for it.
No, this is great. It'd be handy to be carrying a lot of stuff when we're out in the wilds. That
was kind of my thought, is, like, having just, like, that extra extra way to bring whatever it is that you want to bring out there.
And not have to put it against your backpack stuff.
And I'm pretty sure this lets me carry another 10 pounds of stuff on me when we go out in the wild.
Absolutely. 5 to 10 pounds, easily.
So Estelle, as you sit back down, Mitchell comes up to you first, and he gives you something that's like wrapped. And as you tear the paper off, you can see it's a like carved wooden board that has that's been painted. And it's odd when you look at it. It's something that like kind of sparks a memory for you. And he goes, so the whole paper eyes and being able to kind of remember and see the town means that I remember and can visualize things that happened here in far greater detail than I used to be able to. And this is the first time your entire family visited Smoky Banks. So it's when Matthew was still young and you had just gotten Guffy as a puppy. You can see him there and you're visiting your parents. And I had walked down by the beach and saw all of you playing together out in the water and thought it was just a nice moment to give you.
That's really sweet.
Estelle gives him a kiss. It's beautiful. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad that I can now be a part of all of this. I always thought you were a lovely family. Matthew gets up and shoves him aside and goes, all right, no more boring gifts. I made this for you special. And he slides over like a very nice looking box that has like a parchment piece stuck to the top of it. And it says, an adventurer's kit to non-poisonous flavor enhancement. Guaranteed that every herb, spice, and mineral here is worth its side effect. So this took me several months to perfect for you, but ever since being here, I've been sampling every single thing and found out which ones are worth eating and which ones aren't. Now, the ones that aren't, I've not included, but all of these are definitely worth eating and will make your food better. So I know sometimes you're out and miserable and eating garbage. Instead, now, you can flavor it with some of all this.
Do you at least have a list of the side effects so that I can be prepared?
No, they're all worth it. You won't be mad. You know, it'll be worth it.
But you gotta have, like, the chocolate box thing where it tells you what they are.
You will find out what they are when you try them, and every single one of them is worth it, alright?
Okay, can you at least give me what the worst symptom is?
You know, I can't. I can't because, look, I'm gonna level with you. I was having a lot of symptoms for a while, alright? There was a few trips to the clinic, and so things crossed over. I would say acute intestinal distress.
What? I'm shocked that you didn't, like...
I went blind in an eye
that's
for,
insane.
like, 3 weeks. I didn't include that one. That one's not in there.
Well, how do you know you didn't include it if things crossed?
Juliet and Estelle curse in the scientific method.
You'll find out later. Don't worry.
No, I don't know. No, I don't understand that.
And then Lance comes up and goes, so I know you're into animals, and I know you already have one pet, but I brought this with me from my home. It was a lab specimen, and this one ended up different, and he slides over this cage, and inside of it you see, like, the cutest little, like, it doesn't exactly look like a mouse, but it's, like, small, fuzzy, little cute, chubby cheeks, you know, little paws, big old eyes. And he goes, things go missing around this. Don't ignore it. It's smarter than it looks, and it hides things.
So even in fake fantasy podcast land, Cody gives obligations instead of gifts.
I told you Lance isn't worth it, and you're all like, Lance is a good guy.
yeah. But it's really sweet. It's really cute. I don't even know what to call it, you know, but because it's not, you know, originally we just killed these things in lab tests, but this one ended up kind of like mutated, and I think it's something else now, but
What was the mutation?
I have no idea.
Just how it acts? Or...
Yeah, like because it was the one that stuck with us the longest, right? And this one came into the wilds, and I think it's had changes happen to it, so it's just a whole new thing now.
Huh. Well, this is fascinating. No,
You can experiment on it and stuff, too.
No, I don't think I'll be doing that.
No, you could probably find out a whole lot from its cadaver or whatever.
No, I'm not interested in doing that.
I'm not saying killing it yet, but eventually, you know.
Lance is giving her a future corpse.
Whenever you cut it up, call me.
You know, if
He
you're
goes back and sits down.
Okay, hopefully that'll be a while.
He just looks over at Juliet and goes, "Did you not, like, dissect your pets after..."
There's a reason I study plants and fungus.
How did you know what happened to him, then? You don't dissect your plants and fungus?
I do, but I don't have to feel bad about their corpses.
You know plants feel things, right? Like, we've proven that they have neurological synapses and can feel things.
It's different.
You just have a very mammalian-focused perspective. And then Ma leans over and goes, "There's so many planets where there's no mammals, And, I've heard the trees scream." And then she just sits down and stares off, kind of like, thinking about something. Anyways, who's next?
I can go next. So Juliet, for Autumn, she hands her... It kind of looks like a clock. It's round and has, like, arms that, like, kind of stick out, like, beyond the main circle in the center. But it has, like, 5 of the main Novathean moons. And it, like, kind of turns around, like, when they would rise and set.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, Ruben helped me make this. So it's got these 5 moons. And I know that the timing is obviously not going to match up with here. But it's a way to keep track of moon festivals, and I know that you were pretty consistent about celebrating all the goddesses, and this is a way to remember them.
Thank you, Juliet. That's really sweet.
For Estelle, Juliet gets out these like warm, grippy boots for Guffy. But the grippy pattern on the bottom is the Wild Watchers symbol. So if he's like going through snow, it'll be just like Wild Watchers prints.
That's adorable.
Oh my god!
we go through a lot of different environments when we're traveling, and I thought this would be a way to keep him more comfortable and easier to track him.
My
and
gosh,
that you know it was him.
thank you. These are so cute.
As soon as Guffy puts those on, he's doing the whole, like, dog, like, paw thing. He's, like, just frantically moving his little paws everywhere. And he's a really fluffy dog, so it would look like a giant fluffy dog with, like, thigh highs on,
He's got Uggs.
Well, no, because it would, like, suck in all his fur, so it's, like, stick legs and then big poofs of fur.
Oh, don't worry, you'll get used to him, Guffy.
For Fred, Juliet comes over and hands him a kind of a big jar. I experimented with making some mead, but instead of with honey, it's from the sap of this new tree that we have here, Dulcet orberis, and I think it turned out not half bad. So here you go.
As soon as you say that, Matthew goes, "It's with the side effect."
You haven't tried any.
I've tried the sap.
Well, there's a reason that we process things via fermentation.
Well, thank you, Juliet. I look forward to trying it.
For Matthew, Juliet hands him a little, like, potted herb. It's a cross between cilantro and mint, at least culinarily. Biologically speaking, I noticed influences from it. It doesn't matter. I hope you like it. Oh, and here's a map of where it grows. And she, like, hands him a little piece of paper so he can find, like, where to forage it more.
Does it make you go blind in one eye?
No. I thoroughly tested it first.
He, like, takes a bite of it and goes, "Hang on one second." He, like, gets a little jar out, sprinkles some in it, goes over to Estelle's box, opens it, shoves it in there, closes it, and goes, "Made a new discovery. Thank you."
Do you know what the side effects of this one are?
It was tested thoroughly. None.
I'll let you know in 6 to 10 hours.
For Mitchell, Juliet hands him, like, a little sort of, like, rectangular package wrapped in paper and twine. I was talking to Willow, and she pointed me in the direction of someone else from Smoky Banks who actually writes novels. And this is what I'm told is a space western about a cowboy who has various mysteries and adventures kind of fall into his lap on his faraway western planet. So here you go.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. I'll look forward to having something to read while I'm tending the spiralix.
For Willow, Juliet hands her, it's kind of in a big circle, and I don't know if you've seen like a weather for the year, where you like take the temperature of each day and it's like a different color. So it's like that sort of piece, but she's made it in different colors of lichen, like that correspond to like different like temperature bands.
Oh.
That is an insane present. Like, it's really cool, but that is an insane thing.
It's like tiny little like bits of lichen.
Is the lichen still alive?
Yeah, this lichen changes hue based on the pH of the water that it absorbed originally, and so that's how it changes hue. But it's based on the last year's weather data. Ruben was very helpful in providing it.
Are you doing witchcraft? This feels like witchcraft. This definitely feels like... This feels a little bit like... It's cool, I love it.
No, it's just... You just tweak the pH about 0.2, and that changes the hue that appears.
It always sounds like witchcraft to me, too.
It sounds a lot like witchcraft, right? It's cool, I'm not saying it's bad. You should just lean into it. I should have gotten you a hat.
And then for Maul, Juliet has made her, she worked with Willow a lot on this. She's made her a radio compass. So there's a loop transmitter like back in Willow's tower, but it's a compass that she can use in this limbo place that does not have the same magnetic fields that Novathea did. So when she's out in the wilds, she can locate back to Smoky Banks.
So when you hand that to Mal, she's like, wow, wrong voice. Now I feel like mine's less good, but this is great, thank you. So I just...
Well, you shouldn't feel bad about it.
I didn't know what to get you, and so, like, I just dug up something that I had, like, stolen before, so sorry it's stolen, but, you know. Anyways, this was from that reptilian planet that I found. They called it a mind palace, and she, like, slides it over to you. Basically what it is, it's like, it was their way of taking notes, so, like, I know you like taking notes, so it just scans a note, and then it adds it to the mind palace when you click this button. So she like clicks a button, and then like just like glowing floating pages just like fly out all over the place. And she's like, and it just like automatically does like hyperlinking and sorting. And it's already full of junk. There's like it belonged to somebody.
There's data from another planet on here?
Yeah, I couldn't figure out how to delete it, so you're just gonna be like adding.
Why would you want to delete it?
Why would you want it? It's like, you know, so I was trying to delete it, but I couldn't figure it out. I like made a bunch of random notes. It scans any page you write and just adds it to the database and correlates it.
I don't have to worry about running through all these paper pages. This is fantastic. She like gives her a hug.
No, but it's already full of junk though.
Well, I can sort it into what was the name of the planet?
They didn't tell me the name. You know, you think you would know the name every time, but no one actually says the name of their own planet very often.
I guess that's fair. I'll just sort it into...
You could probably find it in there, you know? Like, they probably say somewhere in the note.
I'll just sort it into the Reptile World's data and my own data. This is wonderful. Thank you, Mal.
She, like, kind of, like, looks pleased with herself and sits down next to you and, like, leans her head on your shoulder. Willow comes up and goes, so I also made you something, and my thing, I think, is actually cooler, just, you know, gonna say. Alright, you're flexing witchcraft, I have technology. And she slides you over something that looks like a, it's like a drum with a, like, you know, like the old, like, record players that had a needle and then, like, a big horn. Like, imagine, like, that shape, but just a lot smaller. And then it has like a little like glowing chunk, and she goes, so this part came from Echo Base. I got a power supply from Lance, but what I call this is a I'm working on the name, but it's a hard wax wave recorder. Basically, it is a way of, if you click a button here, it spins the drum, and then as you talk, it will etch what you say into wax, like the audio of it. And then if you want to delete what you've recorded, you just set it near fire in its case, and the wax melts.
And it melts the wax.
And then it goes back to being solid, you can record again.
That's ingenious. Thank you, Willow.
a prototype, so don't break it. And, you know.
I will take very good care of it.
And then Matthew comes up and hands you basically an identical box to what he gave to Estelle, except it says, an adventurer's kit of poisonous flavor enhancement. Look, I'm not judging. He goes, now look, alright, I'm not telling you what to do with any of these, but all of these have severe side effects and taste amazing. You know, use with discretion.
All right. I can certainly try to synthesize their taste properties, and then we won't have to worry about the side effects. Thank you, Matthew.
I think you might want I could see you wanting the side effects at some point. So, you know, if you can do that, though, let me know, and then give me those if that happens. But for you, I thought maybe, you know, if something happens, things go sideways, you need to, like, make someone a delicious treat that, at the very best case scenario, makes them go blind in one eye, and he, like, points to one container of, like, dried berries. He's like, those ones, you'll go blind.
Matthew, are you suggesting I want to maim someone?
I don't know how to put this to you delicately. I want you to look around the room. Out of everyone in your group, I think literally you're the only person that's killed somebody.
Hey!
And he's still here, so yeah, maybe.
Technically, I killed a god.
You know, I actually am kind of jealous about that. That's cool. So I don't know. That's actually just cool. So yeah.
Well,
thanks.
No judgment there.
Well, thank you, Matthew. I look forward to analyzing them.
Lance just like leans over and just goes, I don't want to make anything you cook for me.
Deal. I won't cook you anything.
Mitchell comes over and gives you a like little small box, and when you open it, you see inside of it a badge. It is an old metal badge that's like set in glass, and the metal's in the shape of a shield. This is my old sheriff's badge. Now, I'm not I don't think this like deputizes you or anything like that, but
Phew. Okay.
Matthew just glaring at him.
What I used to do for this town was somewhat, fighting and breaking up fights and trying to drag people out of the wilds and protect people, but it was also being a person that knew how to avoid all of those things and head them off at the pass as it was. There's a certain bearing of a person that, although capable of fighting when necessary, figures out every possible alternative to it first. In no small part, the only reason we have a relationship with Echo Base and with Lance, and the only other, civilization out here in the middle of nowhere, is because of your desire to not do violence, but also your ability to do it when necessary. And I think that is an admirable quality that Smoky Banks needs.
Mitchell, thank you. This means a lot. She, gives him a hug.
You'll have to talk to the town council if it does actually mean that you've been... I don't think that it has any magic powers or anything. It's sentimental.
Thank you.
That's it. That's all the gifts I got. Someone else is going.
Okay, I can go. So, Juliet, this isn't as cool as what you gave me, but I've really enjoyed the time that we've been, going on runs together every morning, and I've also noticed your shoes are hiking boots.
They're a little difficult to run in, yes.
So, I traded around and was able to get you some running shoes.
Thank you, Autumn.
So you don't have to run in hiking boots anymore, which, I think it is really useful for when we're in the wilds to be able to run in boots, but also it's not helpful for working out.
My feet appreciate it already. Thank you.
For Estelle, I got a necklace of Kataris' moon made of glass.
Ooh.
And it's of the shade of the moon, and inside it, it's a double layered thing. It has the symbol for Kataris on it. I've enjoyed talking about the goddesses with you, Estelle, and thought this was a nice thing I can do, and Smoky Banks still has a plethora of sand, at least for the time being. We kind of live on a swamp, but it's a sandy swamp, so I went and talked to some of the glass blowers and made this.
Well, thank you. Well, even though I don't know where her moon is, at least I'll have it here.
Right.
So thank you.
And then for Fred, I made, sticking with a glass theme and knowing you're a craftsman, I made a replica in glass of your shop.
That's really cool.
Ooh.
There's a bunch of different colors, and like you can take the roof off, and inside it's like red around like a forge and glowing out. This one I didn't actually make. I had River make it because he's good at it. Thank you, Matthew, for letting him get out of jail for 5 minutes.
He's under house arrest. He just has to be guarded, and his, albeit dangerous equipment is in his house, so it's alright.
For Matthew, she gives him a big machete that has different heroes of legend engraved on it. So again, this one wasn't me making it. Fred made it, but I told him all the stories.
Did Fred make 90% of the gift?
They're commissions. That's how commissions work.
Canonically, this is just Fred making everyone gifts. Fred's rich.
To be fair, you did set us up in a wilderness where we have no luxuries. But yeah, so that's why I got Matthew.
Matthew gets it and his other sword and is just like, yes! Yes! Do you know how many times I've gotten one sword stuck in something? Now I can just get another sword!
So, I know this is going to come... This episode is non-canonical and is going to come out way out of order from when we're recording. That puts Matthew's request for another sword even funnier.
Does he request another sword?
That's what you mentioned when Fred got back to his shop in the latest episode that we recorded.
Oh,
one of the orders in the pile was Matthew wanted a really big sword.
One on his back, 2 on a belt. He's ready to go.
I do also like the fiction that Estelle's like, hey, can I commission a knife or like a sword for Matthew? And it's like, okay, you make that. You give the sword to Estelle, she walks out, Autumn walks in, I need a sword for Matthew!
Half of Fred's commissions are just swords for Matthew.
Matthew comes in, I need a sword for Matthew.
So for Mitchell, like, we've been friends for a while, and I got this before we got transported to wherever we are. But I got a signed leather-bound edition of Naptown Chronicles. I know you like that series, and this is the first one of the book.
Yeah, I think I'd heard about that series. That Seamus character is something else.
I like everyone who isn't a or a POV character quite a bit.
He takes it and chuckles and goes, well, in a minute you're going to find out why this is a very funny gift.
And then for Willow, I also am giving the gift of technology. But instead of doing a prototype, I just asked Lance for something to record your voice if you wanted to do interviews not at the radio station, and then play them back so you can spend more time with me when I'm in town.
She takes it and goes, ooh, forgot her accent. Oh, thank you. No, I mean, I would like it if we could spend more time together. That's good.
That's all I got.
Okay, so Mitchell comes up to you and goes, I like the book. It's great. I also got you a first edition signed copy of a book, and it's an original by the author print. And he hands you a book called, hang on, I gotta get the actual name of it.
Did Mitchell write a book?
Hang on. Okay, the book is called Deep Rock Prime, Volume 1, Fear and Desperation, The Long Night's Death Bell, A Maple Warden Adventure. I wrote it myself, and it might be a little rough, but it's about a PI on on this, planet out on that's like has to be underground all the time, and it's like a corrupt city where the streets are all neon and running red with blood and vice, and she's gonna clean it up by herself, and I thought you'd enjoy it. And I can write more of them. This is just volume 1. It's going to be in a 30-book series. I have a lot of time while I'm watching the Spiralics.
She's already reading. Well, when I love it, you're gonna have to write all 29 others.
Well, there have been others written already. You'll get those eventually, don't worry. I have a very complicated review process with a few of the Spiralics that really have great taste. You can tell by the way they kind of bob their heads while they're eating the grass, if they like it or not.
The fiction of them actually being right makes it funnier in my mind. Like, it sounds like he's crazy, but I like the idea that whether by chance or by them actually understanding, they give good advice to him.
So, then, Willow comes up, and she kind of, like, sits, like, kind of flirtily on your lap, and she gives you, again, this is, like, in just, like, a little box, and when you open it up, it is a very simple pendant of the moon, but the, cultural significance of this, so, like, you know, this festival is, like, celebrated pretty universally, like, on your planet, this is a pendant that you can only give to somebody once, so, and it isn't necessarily unique to, like, lovers or family or friends, but it is like you can give one to multiple people, but you can only give one to a person once. So frequently, like when a child becomes an adult, their parents might give them this, or when like after someone gets married, or like if someone marries into a family, the parents of like the other person's family might give this to them on like their first the first winter festival after someone gets married or whatever. So it's always handmade. It is always meant to look like the moon that is high in the sky right now. And they're kind of meant to be cheap in that, like, the materials are always really basic. They're never very ornate, but it's just like this symbol of like a deepening connection. Like it's something that friends might give each other too, just like, hey, like we've been friends for a long time. This is a meaningful thing. But it never has like a fixed, it's not just between one group of people. So she hands you this and just goes, I am very glad that you are a part of my life, and I hope to have many more festivals with you. And she wraps her arms around your neck and gives you a big kiss, and kind of just stays there all cozied up on you. And then Matthew comes up and just kind of like brushes her off, and he's like, all right, now look, all that nonsense, don't even worry about it. And he like gets this giant thing out from under his chair and sets it on your lap. It is one of the few remaining solar boards. It's all beat to crap, and it doesn't look the same anymore, similar to the gift that Juliet got that has like a power source clearly from Echo Base. There's like a giant like thrumming blue machine on the back of it powering it now. And he goes, all right, so I had to swap with Lance to get the power source for this thing, but this is one of the few remaining working solar boards left in all of Smoky Banks. All of my, all the scouts and people watching the wall and keeping the city safe have largely crashed theirs because they fly like morons, and they like don't work so good anymore now that there's no, the sun, like the suns and the moons are all different. But this one has a mostly stable power supply on it, so enjoy. Don't be too reckless. Have fun.
You know I'm going to be reckless, right?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And if you crash it too hard, I'm like pretty sure it'll explode.
I'll not do that. Can I borrow your swords?
Look, here's the...
We can both...
Here's the thing.
We can both...
Do not joust on that.
I didn't say we were gonna joust.
You were thinking it. I could see it.
No, we would never joust. Why would you think we would joust?
Do you happen to have another solar board, Matthew? Just asking for no reason.
You know, not that anyone here needs to know about, so, you know.
Cool. Do you want to, like, not do anything, like, tomorrow afternoon?
No, definitely not. No, I'm going to be really busy, so we'll have no time.
I can't watch this.
Hey, Fred!
No, we actually need someone to watch this because probably we're going to need to be taken to, like, a medic.
Fred, can you blunt some weapons real quick? Do you have any blunted weapons, Fred?
I mean, you could just go get some sticks from a tree if you really want to just hit each other.
Yeah, we could go get some sticks. Like, let's go get some sticks.
Hey, Willow, I'm probably not gonna be home tomorrow night. I'm probably gonna be in the hospital.
Alright, Fred, it is your turn.
Well, that was a very interesting segue, because I think I'm just gonna start with Autumn, because Fred's gonna walk over to Autumn and be like, well, it's interesting that Matthew's giving you that, because I also had something for a board, and I think this maybe might help you not crash. And he produces a couple of like fin stabilizers that he had made to make boards like more stable and less prone to crashing, but then also you can kind of go higher, faster, stronger, longer kind of stuff. And I didn't know Matthew's gonna get you that, but I think this might help.
Thanks, Fred. This will be great. I'm gonna kick your ass, Matthew.
Fred will then go over to Maul, and produce a. There's been a lot of swords in this episode, but Fred has yet another sword. This one, it's not shaped like a normal sword. If you guys will recall back to previous campaigns, and you remember a poor droid named Baxter who had a prosthetic sword in his arm, he has made that for Maul. So she can, like, attach it to her wrist, and it, like, will hide in her arm, and when she wants to, she can slide it out. She has a sword arm now.
Ooh, she's like, oh, yeah, that's gonna be fun. I need to figure out how to turn the safety on. Really important that I figure out how to turn the safety on. Juliet, I'll take it off when you're around. How about that?
Yes, please don't stab me.
Fred will then go over to Lance next, and so I've made this. It's not a lot, but I know you've been doing a lot of work for your group, and I know that we don't always see eye to eye on what we're doing, but I think you're doing what you think is best. And he produces what looks like a replica of his commander's insignia.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Lance takes it and goes, I really appreciate that, Fred. I am, and hopefully that ends up working out eventually.
Next, Fred will go over to Honey, who is here, because she hasn't been mentioned yet, but Honey is also here, and
She's talking with Estelle's mom in the corner.
She's also under house arrest. Matthew is guarding them.
Is Honey on house arrest? Was Honey part of that group?
She was part of the old council, yeah.
Was she? She was part of the Wild Watchers, though, too.
Oh, wait, no, maybe she wasn't. I might have been lying. Okay, I don't think she was, actually. Yeah, you're right.
She hasn't gotten to talk to Estelle's mom because she's been at her house arrest. Gotta catch up on all the gossip.
so I've been experimenting with more form over function type of metalworking, because most of what I've made in the past has been like tools and weapons and whatnot. But I've been trying to get it into more of like more aesthetically pleasing objects, and he pulls out a like a metal weaved rose that he gives to Honey.
Oh, that's cool. She takes it and goes, I do love when a strapping gentleman gives me flowers. They're almost as beautiful as me.
And I knew when I decided that gift was like, I'm just giving Cody ammunition, but I don't care.
Just tell her you'll ask her out when the last
battle falls. Next thing I see her with some tin snips.
You see her just rip it. Yeah, you just see her rip it in half immediately. So about that date.
And Fred will next go over to Estelle, and in a similar vein, I made this metal statue of Guffy, so that even when he's eventually, hopefully not for a long time, but even when he might not be with us anymore, you'll still have something to remember him by.
Oh my goodness, look at him! Oh, he's so cute. Thank you, Fred.
Guffy tries to paw at it, but he's still like got weird sock paws, you know?
And then lastly for Juliet, this one was a tough one. I had to go through several prototypes to get this one to work, but I've made a pin that will never run out. Doesn't actually use ink. The tip is made out of silver, and it'll write on whatever you want to write on for hopefully forever. I mean, eventually, if you wear it all the way down, it might, but it'll be a long time. And I think that might go good with that document storage thing that you got.
Thank you, Fred. This will be perfect.
As soon as you give it to her, I think Maul immediately takes it and starts like writing on your arm, you know? Just like writing goofy stuff on Juliet's arm. She's like,
are you adding to my tattoo?
Drawing dragons and stuff, you know?
Dragons climbing all the vines. She's got it.
Yeah. So Lance comes up to you, Fred, and he gives you, it's sort of an odd device. It's really small. It basically looks like a little metallic cylinder with a dial on the bottom of it. He hands it to you and goes, so fire has always been a benchmark of civilization. And on my world, we give it as a gift to people who are scientists or craftsmen or engineers whenever they finish their training. When we give it, it kind of comes with this duality to it. This fire source that we have, it is extremely long-lasting, kind of like your pen. It really never runs out of fuel or anything like that. It'll last basically a lifetime, if not more. It will always provide you with light and warmth and safety, and he, like, so he was like, as he was saying that, he, like, turns the knob as you're holding it, and, like, a fire burns out of it, like a lighter, basically, you know? And then he turns it up more, and it starts to look like a butane torch, you know, like the flame turns to, like, blue. Or destruction. We give this gift because it is meant to remind you always that creating things can be a great benefit or do great harm, and you're always kind of holding that potential in your hand when you make anything. And he, like, turns it up even higher, and you can, like, feel heat against your skin. Like, you could tell this, like, if you held steel up to this, it would liquefy it, right? Like, this is incredibly hot. It's dangerous. It can hurt you. But that's sort of the responsibility of our trade. And he turns it off and hands it to you.
Thank you, Lance. This will be very useful.
It is. I regularly use mine, and most of us do, you know, whenever we need to heat something in a lab or whatever, or melt something, you know. Honey comes up, and she hands you a bottle. This is an important type of drink. This is a bottle that you can only open when you have met someone who you want to share a drink with. And then the idea is that you open it and share a nice drink with them. It can be anybody, but you're not allowed to open it until there is someone to open it with. And I brewed it myself. It's quite a good drink, if I do say so myself. And it's not made from tree sap or whatever nonsense you were given by anyone else.
Well, thank you, honey.
Also, my address is 111223.
And then Maul comes up. She sits down next to you and hands you what looks like kind of like a broken key. This is what people in my trade call a crooked key. It might not look like much, but it's something that can fit itself in like a lot of different locks. Maybe most locks. And it can make entry into certain places a little bit easier. I've always felt that it was nice to have someone else in Smoky Banks that wasn't so wholesome and by the book. And I always kind of enjoy another scoundrel being around. So if you ever find yourself needing to go where you're not supposed to, I think this crooked key could help.
Who are you calling a scoundrel? And he gives her a little smile.
No one, of course. I'm giving this away. Why would I ever need one again? I don't keep multiple.
Juliet, like, fishes in her back pocket for another one.
Yeah.
Sure, that's what she's doing.
Maul sits back down, and you all look up at the sky. You can still hear Estelle's dad gently playing music, and, you know, singing these, like, kind of like light flowing songs as you all watch snow fall and look at the stars and miss the moon that used to be there.
Hey Wanderers, thanks for listening to our Wanderlust holiday special. Wherever you are and whatever you're celebrating, we hope you get some cozy time with your own beloved weirdos. Thanks again for listening, and keep wandering.